the volume number 1 of the governor's bundle, page 7. For heaven's sake, Honorable Speaker, my time is being wasted by things that I've already said.
Just proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I'm referring to bundle volume 1 of the governor's
Senator
bundle.
Sifuna, you
at page
can only
7.
repeat if I tell you to repeat.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Council, you have presented the averments at paragraph 20A as a holding of the court. That in fact, the paragraphs you have superimposed there were a holding of the court. Now, you are a lawyer of great repute, and reading a judgment, you can ascertain what a finding of the court is, as opposed to an analysis of the presentations of the parties. Honorable Speaker, the judgment referred to is at page 70 of that same bundle, exhibit number 1. And I want the counsel for the governor to confirm to this House that in fact, the paragraph quoted at 20A is not a finding of the court on the question of what 2/3 means and what should happen when there is a decimal. Honorable Speaker, I will refer you to paragraphs. He has quoted from paragraph 83, which cannot be a holding of the court. And in fact, the holding of the court should be at paragraph 86 of that judgment. Honorable Speaker, my question therefore to him is it proper for you to present an analysis of the case by the learned judge as a finding of the court? Honorable Speaker, that is the question I wanted to put to him.
Senator Boni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my comment on this will be limited on what I beg that the House adopts to help this country. This is a very serious matter, and Mr. Speaker, it is already on record that no court can injunct Parliament. So the first PO should collapse. A decision has already been made. My second comment, Mr. Speaker, is on the question of numbers. Kanzo Mutuma, what would you like the governor to prove? It is a scientific fact that 47 divided by 2/3 is 31.3. As you guys say in law, res ipsa loquitur. It proves by itself. What do you want him to prove? It is not possible for a human being, Mr. Speaker, to be a fraction. I want, Mr. Speaker, to urge the Council that because you also have a responsibility to grow the philosophy of impeachments, let us agree that on this one, let us give it to the governor. We give him the fact that a fraction of a human being does not exist. Next time, come with full numbers and we would listen to you. Finally, Mutuma, because you're very experienced in this process, listen to what the Speaker of the National Assembly said about the same thing. The County Assembly of Nyamira said about the same thing. The County Assembly of Kericho about numbers during elections. They have said the same thing. So why do you invite us to disagree with all of them? So as to please you or to allow the proper jurisprudence?
Senator Ledama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want some clarity from the Council of the Governor. The Council for the Assembly has presented facts that this matter had already been determined by a court. In their volume 1, page 131, there's a finding of the court that when it comes to the issue of 2/3, it is not an issue where you determine the question of a human being able to be fractioned, but rather a scientific. Are you then, in your submission, questioning, or rather, have you challenged, or has anyone else challenged that finding of the court in the matter of Michael Justin Dunda versus the County Assembly of Tana River? So that is a point that I'd like you to clarify, because this is a finding of the court. Number two on that issue is on the finding on the matter to deal with JSC, where the court, according to the facts presented by the Assembly, stated that you round off to the nearest whole number. What would be the nearest whole number in a matter which is 31.3? Is it 31 or is it 32? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fernandez, Senator Samson Chirange.
Mr. Speaker, you need to protect me from the majority leader. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with my colleagues. Just a quick comment is that in the history of this parliament, no one can injunct parliament. So I think on that aspect of injunction of parliament or court order before the parliament or the Senate, it does not hold water, and therefore I think I would advise the defense team of the governor to stop pursuing that line. Number two, and finally, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of two-third, Mr. Speaker, my concern is on Section 33 of the County Governments Act and Article 181 on removal of governor. Mr. Speaker, and in the decision of Raila Odinga versus IEBC in 2013, the Supreme Court pronounced itself that when the process, and I want to extrapolate, when the process has taken off and it is time-bound, as envisaged in that ruling before the Supreme Court, that process is time-bound. So by the fact that you read the charges and the process is ongoing, when you look at rule number 16, rule number 14, and rule number 30 on the removal of a governor, the process is already ongoing and the train has left the station. So, Mr. Speaker, the question should be, if the process has already begun, as per Section 33, with the genesis of Article 181 on removal of the governor, therefore, what happens, Mr. Speaker? I agree that in scientific proof that you cannot have a fraction of a human being. But also, for some of us who are not very good in mathematics, there is also principle of truncation. So, Mr. Speaker, you must balance both so that at the end of the day, we give justice to the county assembly and we give justice to the governor and any other person, including the people of Kericho, Mr. Speaker. So since the train has left the station, let us go ahead and listen to the merits and demerits of the case, and then we determine. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Senator